Okay, this will be out of class work week 4. So let's go ahead and look at the first problem here. An entree calls for 1/3 cup of water, 1/8 a cup of vegetable oil, and 1/4 a cup of milk. How many cups of liquid does this entree require in all? Now, this may look familiar to you because you might have had a question on the test that looks similar to this. So I have 1/3 plus 1/8 plus 1/4. Now, I know that this is adding because I'm looking for the total cups of liquid. It does not say the word total, but based on the wording of this question, I know that it's looking for the total in all. Okay, lets me know total. First thing, I can't work with the fractions in this state, so I need to go ahead and I need to get a common denominator on all of these. So if I look at 3, 8, and 4, the common denominator of those is 24. So I'm going to go ahead and just write out over 24. Now, how many times did I have to multiply 3 to get it to 24? I multiply 3 times 8 to get to 24, so 1 times 8 is 8. How many times do I have to multiply 8 to get it to 24? Well, that's the reverse of what I just did. 8 times 3 is 24, so 1 times 3 is 3. And last, what do I have to multiply 4 to get it to 24? 4 times 6 is 24, so 1 times 6. All I will do here is I will keep the denominator as 24, and I will add across 8 plus 3 is 11, plus 6 is 17 24ths. Very good. Now, if you were to only prepare 1/3 of the recipe, how much of each ingredient would you need? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take 1/3 of water, 1/8 of oil, and 1/4 of milk. And again, these are cups. 1/3, and I'm making a third, so 1/3 of a fraction of lets me know that the math operation is to multiply. So I'm going to start by taking 1/3 and multiplying it by 1/3. And so the answer is 1/9 of a cup of water. Okay, 1/8 of a cup of oil times 1/3 is going to be 1/24. Because again, adding a common denominator, but for multiplying, I don't. I'm just going to multiply the top and then multiply the bottom. So that's 1/24 of a cup of oil. And then last but not least, 1/4 of a cup of milk times 1/3, because I'm looking for 1/3 of, so that's multiplying again. So I have 1/12 a cup of milk. Okay, going ahead, we'll move to the next problem, which is some decimals. Now, the most important thing when I'm dealing with decimals, or one of the most important things, is that I'm going to actually line up the decimal. Now here, I noticed right here, I have two negatives next to each other. This is subtracting a negative, so I'm going to use keep, change here. And again, there is nothing other than subtraction, and I guess we'll turn to addition. But I don't need to do anything else first in this problem because I don't have any parentheses, no exponents, no multiplying, no divide. So let's go ahead and start here. We're going to keep the first, change the sign. So now I have 11.5 plus 8.75. So I'm going to go ahead and do this math operation first. 11.5. Now my 8 is going to go in the ones column because it's the ones value. My 7 is going to go underneath the 5 in the tens column, and then I will have a 5 here at the end in the hundredths place. Now, there is nothing there. So what I need to do there is add a 0 as a placeholder, and then we'll just add, just like if this didn't have decimals, we just need to remember to move it down. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 7 is 12. Bring up my 1. 1 plus 1 plus 8 is 10. Bring up my 1. So the answer to this section is 20.25. 20.25. Now I need to subtract 2.5. So again, lining up my decimal, 2 in the ones column, 5 in the tens column. Again, I don't have a value here. You can add zeros as much as you would like. Anytime you're to the right of the decimal, you can add zeros to the end as much as you want. 5 minus 0 is 5. 2, I need to borrow this way. So I'm going to borrow from the tens column the whole way over. 12 minus 5 is 7. 9 minus 2 is 7. And then 1. So 1775. Let's go ahead and move down to this problem. And I'm kind of drawn over it. So now we have, again, adding and subtracting I have different denominators, so I'm going to have to find a common denominator. And I'm actually going to do all three, find a common denominator, all three, because I could do just as I did this one where I split it up into two different problems. But I think I'm just going to make one large one. So 3, 8, and 6 have a common LCM of 24. So let's go ahead and add in my signs too, so I don't forget those. So how many times does 3 go into 24? 3 goes into 24 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. 6 goes into 24 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, let's go ahead and now we'll break it apart and do it in as we did over here. 16 minus 3 is going to be 13 over 24. Okay, plus 20 over 24, because I got to remember to bring that up. And that's going to give me a value of 33 over 24. Now, my suggestion is going to be to leave it in that format. But if you want to put it into a mixed number, you can. 24 goes into 33 one full time. It's going to leave me a remainder of 9 over 24. Okay, let's check that, because 33 minus 24, is 9. Now, this can be simplified even further. 9 and 24 both have a common factor of 3. So let's divide by 3 and divide by 3, which is going to give me a value of 1 and 3/8. And again, that's in the mixed number. I would suggest leaving it in improper fraction unless it specifies to put it in a mixed number. Last problem. Hannah eats 1/4 of a pizza. Jamie eats 2/3 of the same pizza. How much of the pizza is left? So in this case, we need to add these two together and then subtract from one whole, because a pizza, again, if I were to draw a picture, I'm doing 1/4 and then we're doing like 2/3 of the pizza. So I would add that and figure out what is the remaining part. So 1/4 plus 2/3. Common denominator, 4 and 3 is going to be 12. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. That's going to give me 11/12. Now, I need to subtract 1 minus 11/12. I'm going to go ahead and create a fraction from this one that has a common denominator of 12. So it's going to be 12 over 12, which would also be equal to 1. It's going to be 1/12 left over.